Hi everyone, welcome to episode 25 of Aldo Meets in conjunction with the Anfield Hotel. And we've got loads of sponsors out there that Peter's absolutely got on board with us, and with James. I'm delighted to say I've got someone that I'm honoured to be with and honoured to know for the last, I don't know how many years. Been good friends over at Banter. He's come to Portugal to do a couple of my golf classics. And he's brilliant man. And before you think anything about it, he did play for Liverpool. He was on Liverpool's books, so he passes the criteria of an ex-Liverpool player. But along with Ken Dodd, the best two comedians ever come out of Liverpool, and that's saying something with all the comedians we've got, including Peter, who thinks he's one, in Liverpool. So Stan,
right, John.
Really great to see you, mate. How's things going? Tell us where you're up to in your life.
Thanks very much.
I know you just, is it 98 or 88 you just passed?
What was that?
Birthday.
Don't be using my
88.
Listen, I'm not telling you how old I am. All right, you've got to guess. But I'll tell you what, when I played for Liverpool, right, I was on Liverpool's books for 2 years, and then Bill Shankly saw me playing, and he said, "You'd make a better comedian." It was wrong. Anyway,
you weren't there for 2 years, wasn't you? We were talking about it earlier on.
Yeah, I was at Liverpool's group for 2 years. Played for the A team, B team, C team. We played all over the country, and we had some great players on our books at that time. Just before Shankly came, and the manager was
Phil Taylor.
Phil Taylor, correct. And Phil Taylor, and I said to Phil Taylor one day in Liverpool, we were having a cup of coffee in one of the rooms, and I said, "Why didn't you pick me to play in the first team?" He said, and this is the manager, he said, "I never picked the team." He said, "I couldn't pick the team." He said, "Because the directors picked the teams." Yeah. Now, Shankly then said, "Well, right, Shankly was supposed to come to Liverpool in 1958,
right,
and he wouldn't let him pick the team, so he didn't come again. So 2 years later, within the second division, right, they asked Shankly, would he come again? Only if I picked the team. 1959, Shankly came, and the rest is history.
And you went to
I was in Germany.
Service.
I got called up.
You were telling me, sorry, you before that you were a pipe fitter.
I was a pipe fitter welder, a lorry driver, everything. But the pipe fitter welding, I mean, I think they offered me £6 to go and sign for Liverpool, but I was making £20 a week selling scrap. So it was pointless me going outside for Liverpool, but I should have done. But it didn't matter because I got called up in the army, and that was me. Then for 2 years, national service. I think they should bring it back myself, but there you go. Just about get you in, would they? You could be a roadblock. How are you doing, mate?
I put a bit of timber on, by the way. We were talking, putting it up just before you come in, James. Just before we come on the podcast, it's amazing how you find out things. In the same team at the same time was Len Ashurst on Liverpool's book. Now Len Ashurst was the manager that brought me into football. You know, I was a shoemaker by trade, brought me from South Liverpool, and it was because of his brother. I was working with his brother, Len Ashurst. Went to watch me play against Runcorn, done well, scored a couple of goals. Told his brother to come and watch me the following Wednesday against Frickley, scored an hat-trick, we won 3-0, and the rest is history. You know, so Len was hard. He was old school. Well, he was a hard manager to play for, but he was old school.
When I was in the A team at Liverpool, Lenny, he was in the same team as me, and it was Johnny Morrissey was in the same team. Yeah. There was Lenny Ashurst, obviously. I remember being in a bath, because them days in the bath at Melwood, they have big long baths, right? You could sit about 6-7 people in. Yeah. They filled it all up like that. And after the game, we'd sit in, and it was covered in mud. We'd just sit there like, I remember being there with Lenny Ashurst, and he said to me, "I'm leaving Liverpool." I said, "What are you leaving for?" He said, "Because we'll never, ever get a game here for the first team." He said, "They keep putting the old men in." And those young lads will never get a game. So I'm going to Sunderland, and he went to Sunderland.
He's stayed there for a long time.
Then Johnny Morrissey was in the same team, and Johnny Morrissey was he played for the Liverpool first team and finished up going to Everton. And then we had Kelly. Kelly was in my team, and a fella called Phil Ferns in the team, Bobby Campbell. Chris Lord hadn't come then, or Smithy. They were the next, next generation. So and we had a goalkeeper them days, right? Tommy Lawrence, and he was a good lad. Tommy.
How old was Tommy then?
Tommy was the same age as me. He'd be
what a lovely fella, wasn't he?
He was a lovely fella, and the thing was, they used to call him the Flying Pig, right? The Flying Pig, Tommy Lawrence, bloody hell. And it was only because he put on a bit of weight. I thought it was because he came from Warrington, because, with all pig farmers. But it wasn't. It was because he was putting on weight, And, he has the green shirt. That's all he always wore, all the time. It was his green shirt, Tommy Lawrence. And he was from Warrington, lovely lad. I'm just trying to think. Bobby Campbell, Bobby Campbell finished up as manager of Chelsea. So we had a great team, and there was a few other lads who played there, and I can't remember them all, but a lot of the lads made it, which was great, because when Shankly came, he got rid of all the old men. Sorry about that, lads. But he brought in, and he signed Ian St. John, he signed Ron Yates, and he had a little goalkeeper, I can't remember his name, and we worked from there. Then we got, who else? Emily News came, and I mean, all the lads, young men who've been playing in Scotland and that, and then we had the Scottish team, didn't we? We had 4 or 5 Scots in the team. Everton had Irish players, and we had the Scottish lads, So that was great. We was Shankly knew what he was doing. I think he'd been manager of Carlisle before, but
Huddersfield as well.
Was it Carlisle? Was it? And he came to Liverpool, and he changed everything. And he was the one who picked the team, not the directors. And that was the best thing that could have happened to Liverpool Football Club. We, as supporters, still used to go in the Kop, and 27,000 people in the Kop, and we'd all be there. And it was just at that time of 1960, where the Beatles had just started. So the Kop was singing all the Beatles songs, and Jerry Marsden. And the last song that the fella used to put on the record them days, just before the players come out in the tunnel, was "You Never Walk Alone," and Jerry Marsden, and that stuck, and it's still stuck today.
Stan, am I right in saying you're still doing comedy shows?
I still do comedy. I'm all over the country. I'm in Carlisle next week. I'm in. I'll tell you where I am. It's a nice plug for the Glass House in Doncaster.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm Doncaster, if you're watching, the 20th of February, I'll be there to see you. And all the lads here, I'm going to get John to sign a little autograph for you. The Glass House. I don't know why it's called the Glass House, by the way.
We've got our own glass house across the way here, haven't we, on the park?
So there you go. We've got a glass house across the park. He's been in it a few times. He was in there fixing the windows.
You released your autobiography, and not long ago.
I've got my book.
Yeah.
Here it is. There we go. Stanborn, my life story, right? And at the moment now, he doesn't die in the end. And this is all about me. I was born in Liverpool.
Scotty Road, wasn't it?
Scotty Road. Yeah. I could walk now to my house, right, 300 yards away, Everton Valley, and it's in there. And my dad brought me here to watch Liverpool. He said, "This is the Kop." And we used to stand in the Kop, and we used to have this rail in there that my dad used to sit me on. And my arse was freezing. You're just sitting on this bloody feet. Anyway, all the crowd were cheering like that. And then they'd all go, when there was a corner, and Billy Little took the corner, all the crowd used to go forward like that. Oh,
That's right, yeah.
And everybody used to finish up at the front. And then they'd all go back again. No fight, no trouble, not like that. It was
It's
fantastic.
like a fair ride, wasn't it? Down in them
it was
days, wasn't it?
unbelievable.
Is that where your love of Liverpool came in from your dad?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think what happens when you're, sort of young, it's the family thing that, your dad takes you to a match and then you're there.
Yeah.
My other mate, Colin Bridge, his dad used to take him to watch Everton.
Yeah.
So there was no sort of animosity going on them days between Liverpool and Everton. No. We go and watch Liverpool one week. Then the next week, when Liverpool were playing away, we go and watch Everton, and we knew all the players and all that,
Yeah,
and all the lads like Howard Cannon and people like that. And there was Alex Young, a fella called Alex Young. So we used to go and watch them. Another nice, I think it was a Scottish lad. And Scotland has been great for Liverpool. Scotland, without Shankly, I don't know where we'd have been.
Even in the old days when we got changed from Everton to obviously to Anfield. He brought four Scottish lads down to play for us, 4 or 5, wasn't he? Yeah. In the first Liverpool side, and it's sort of been there more or less, since year dot. The clan, very clannish with the Scottish sort of footballers. Yeah.
Well, Scotland has always been them days was great because all the lads in Scotland used to play outside in the streets and on the hollies and places like that. And it was like sort of grassroots football was playing in the streets. And that's what we all did in Liverpool. Us Scousers, or we played on the streets or we played on the hollies. Just after the war, when the Germans had bombed out. Sorry about this, Pete.
It was bound to happen.
It's got to come out.
I was ready.
It was the fuckers. The fuckers were here.
Those fuckers were Messerschmitts.
That's one of the best comedy on television. Des O'Connor show. You've got to go back, YouTube it. Stan, years ago. It was priceless. You couldn't swear nothing. You couldn't say bloody on telly or nothing. And Stan's come out with this one, folks. You've got to see it for yourself about the Messerschmitts. They were called fuckers. So tell us what you said to Dan O'Connor when he asked you.
I'll tell you what, people who haven't seen this, you can get on YouTube and you can get anywhere you like. It's and it stands up now. It's about in the 80s, and it was a live show. So they couldn't edit it in any way because it was live. So whatever came out of your mouth was there. Not like now where they have canned laughter and all that stuff, which is going on. And we sit here and watch television and say, what are they enjoying now? Why are they laughing at that? But it's canned laughter. We're not laughing at home, but all the people in the studio seem to be laughing their bloody heads off, but it's not really. But anyway, they introduced me on the Des O'Connor show tonight.
It was the biggest show on television at the time.
There was 25 million viewers watching, 25 million.
Yeah.
And it was live. And they came on. And I said, tell us, the funny thing, I've got to tell you, we were in the changing room, in the dressing room, and Des O'Connor was putting some makeup on his face. He said, come in, Stan, what are you going to do tonight? He said, Des said, I don't like listening to all the jokes. He said, but just tell me the beginning and the end. He said, because, he said, I like to listen to the, live. I said, okay. He said, because I trust you. Anyway.
Big mistake.
So I started telling him off about a Polish pilot during the war who came to came to England, and he joined the Spitfire squadron. He was a Polish fella, and he joined the Spitfire squadron, and he's going out into Biggin Hill. Anyway, as I'm telling this joke, Des is like, if you ever look at it, I can't tell you all the joke, but if you watch it on YouTube, the Des O'Connor show, the fuckers, you see Des like that, sinking down, slowly, going deeper and deeper and deeper.
I watched it at home. I've never laughed so much.
And isn't it true that was your last ever appearance on live television, at least for a while?
It wasn't, no. Everyone thought it was, but it wasn't. No, I did a few more after that with him on his desert call. He asked me to go. But the funniest thing about it, because this was a live show, right, I did my 3 or 4 minutes and I finished up with it. You'll see it on YouTube what it's about. Then he said, we're going into a break now and we'll be back in a few minutes with Oliver Reed.
Jesus Christ. Out of the fire pan into the fire.
Oliver Reed then come out and he said, blah, blah, blah. I believe you got a tattoo, Oliver, haven't you? He said, Oliver Reed said, yes. He said, where is it? It's a live show. He said, it's on me cock. So that's it. Let's go into the break. Goes into the break. Guess who's on after him? We're going to the break now. We're going to bring on Freddie Starr.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh,
in the interval, they got all the Freddie Starr. They said, Freddie, you've got to really be nasty. Who's that?
I don't know, mate. It's your phone's ringing.
Oh, it's a fella. It's another book and with the glass house. I've got the glass house. 20th of February. Anyway,
Stan, there's an entire section on Germany in the Second World War. It's the viewers and listeners are going to be very pleased to know. So before we move on to that section in a bit, we actually wanted to find out a little bit more about your family life as well. So you got 2 kids as well. And they all ended up in entertainment as well in one way or the other.
Andrea and Paul, yeah.
Well, the thing was, because I started doing comedy in Liverpool, Liverpool was a great place for comedy then. Loads and loads of comedians in Liverpool, Jackie Hamilton, Mickey Finn and people like that. They were, we used to go around together telling jokes and all that sort of thing. We would go to Montrose Club and go to another club. And in the end, we could work every day. All over the place, not like now, they got comedy stores, yes, but we used to, our comedy stores were the Montrose Club and the She Club in Liverpool. Anyway, but we used to do that, not knowing that, we're just earning wages for going out there. Then all of a sudden, they brought out Opportunity Knocks, and then I went to Butland's holiday camp, and I won a talent competition. So this is the way you could go to,
Hughie
Green was on Opportunity Knocks. So I was on there with Bernie Flint. Bernie Flint won, I think it was 15 times. I was on 3 times. So
is he a singer or pianist or something?
No, he's a singer. He had about 3 or 4 hit records, Bernie Flint. You couldn't get him off because all the young girls were voting for him. So yeah, it was. So that was that's how we started off. And I went on the London Palladium, would you believe, on the talent competition, and I won that. And all my mates. We jumped on a train, we bumped on the train to London, and they gave me a hotel, and all 20 of my mates all stayed at the same hotel in the roof. So, and they were nicking the pictures off the wall and everything,
And Stan, just before we go into our first break and then jump on a bit onto your earlier life and your upbringing in Liverpool, just in terms of all the players of the old days, and then just swing into the current squad. Who were your favorite players back then? Who were your idols back then, and your favorite players in the current squad?
Well, let me give you the best player that I used to go when I was 11, 12 to watch standing in the cup. Right, he was going to boys' pen first, and then he was always fighting in there. So he managed. You had to go in the cup, right, with your dad or whatever. And 27,000 people. There was 60. There was
the boys' pen was rough, Stan. I used to go there a lot myself, and you used to be able to hold your own there because you were fighting.
And all the cup used to look into the boys' pen to see who was fighting. Hey, they're at it again, and they'd be fighting, going on like that.
It's nuts. So, you had to be under 14, under 13 or
something
under
like that. But it was always going. It kicked off in there. So anyway, we managed to sort of get back, and our dads took us into the cup. And our best player that I used to love was Billy Little. And Billy Little was Scottish, obviously, and Billy was a left winger.
Yeah.
Then he played centre forward. Then he could play anywhere, right? He was a handful. Then we had Acourt.
Tony Acourt.
No, Acourt.
Alan Acourt.
Alan Acourt, sorry. Alan Acourt,
Acourt, yeah. And
sorry.
Alan Acourt, they were in there. And a fella called Barmer, right? And all these lads, Barmer, Acourt, they were all amateurs. They weren't professional footballers. Jackie Barmer, he used to have a shop in Moseley. And then he was, funny enough, there wasn't a lot of money in the game them days. No. Even when Ron Yates and all of them were playing, they just got a good wage, but it wasn't like it is today.
Yeah.
And they had to go and get a job after they finished football.
Different world now.
Cool.
So who's your Billy Little of the current squad then? Your favourite?
Well, obviously all the players that I've been watching over the years, especially the ones that Shankly brought in, and all the Scottish players and all that, and seeing the way Liverpool won the cups, we're so proud of being Scousers, and we go down to Wembley, and our Wembley appearance, funny enough, was 1950. And we played Arsenal
2-0, didn't we?
And I was only about 12, 13, and we couldn't get tickets. So, bearing in mind, Wembley held 100,000 people. In Liverpool, they had about, 50 tickets to sell. And we all went down, and they were selling them overnight. And we came down this road here where this club is, and we used to go there, and there was a queue from here right down to the other end of the... And he was shoving and pushing, and some fella threw me over the wall. It could have been this wall, and to get out the way, because it was stampede going down, just to try and get some tickets to go and watch Liverpool against Arsenal. And we lost 2-0.
That's right, yeah.
There you go. It was one of those.
Yeah, that concludes part one of Aldo Meets with our mate Stan. So we'll be back shortly. Welcome back to part two of Aldo Meets with Peter Schriewersmann, James Pearce, and the one and only Stan Boardman. Let's go back, Stan, where it all started for you in Liverpool. You know, we talked about Scotty Road earlier on, tough times in the 30s. And then, obviously, we had all the tragedy with your brother when, obviously, in the war, and you got bombed in your house, and tragically you lost your brother, 6-year-old brother.
That's I lost my 6-year-old brother in the war. I was born about 400 yards away from here, bottom of Everton Valley, and Morley Street. And during the war, my dad was in the army. I was 3.5 years of age. My brother was 6, and we all had to go to Wrexham to evacuate, because they reckoned that the Germans were going to come. Anyway, they didn't come, and my mother came back again, which she should never have done, but you know, we could never hold that against her. And 3 weeks later, the Luftwaffe did come, and they bombed all Scotty Road in Liverpool, and Bootle, and Liverpool, the docks. And the shelter that I was in was bombed as well, and was flattened. And the girl who had older me, Mary Munro, she was 13 years of age, and she was protecting me, and she was killed. So the shelter fell on her, and it also killed my brother, Tommy, who was 6. So we were all, depending on where you were sitting in the shelter, whether you lived or whether you died. And my mum got her head done, bandaged and all that. She had to go to Stanley Hospital with my sister, Ada, who was then 9 months old, on her knee. So my mother protected my sister, Mary Munro, God bless her. And I dedicate this book to Mary Munro, 13-year-old babysitter from Morley Street. And she was killed as well. She saved my life. So I woke up that morning sitting on a slate. Someone had dug me out the shelter, and I was sitting on a big slate looking around and smoke and fire going on. And someone must have taken me out of the shelter and sat me on a slate. And that's all I remember. And looking around, confused. The next minute, I'm in Stanley Hospital. So that's a memory of sort of that stuck in my mind and still there. And Mary Munro saved my life.
Wow.
You'd have been 3 years old.
3.5.
3.5, yeah.
Yeah. The May Blitz it was. Yeah. So it was very hard to remember things, but when somebody hits you on the head with a hammer or runs over you in a car, they're the sort of things that you'll always remember. And this is what I remember, and the hospital. And then my dad, he was in London, he was in the Royal Artillery, and I often wonder when he was there and the officer said to him, Boardman, get back to Liverpool. He says, your house has been blown up and your kids have been killed. I don't know whether the army would tell him that. They'd probably just give him a pass to go back to Liverpool. How he got back to Liverpool that bad day could have taken days with all the railway sidings and everything blown up and the railway lines. Gets back to Lime Street. Could you imagine what Liverpool was like just after that bombing? No trams, no buses. And he'd have to walk from Lime Street to our house in Morley Street, bottom of Everton Valley, and see all the destruction that was going on as he passed all the shops and the houses all being blown up, and then get to find our house, which is not there, blown up, gone, the shelter gone. Now he's got to try and find out where we are. How he did that, I don't know. Stanley Hospital was just about 200 yards away. So my dad must have had to go down there to find us. And I believe that I was in the morgue with my brother, because there was no room in any of the hospitals, part of the hospital. So my dad eventually found me still alive. So could you imagine, the devastation that had gone on that night? I think there was 2,000 people killed that night by Everton Valley, 2,000. And then obviously we had to recover from that. And the worst thing that ever happened, that was terrible, was my dad stayed 2 weeks over his leave and he got arrested by the Red Caps and took back to London. Could you imagine that now? Hey?
Wow, what a story that is. Wow.
What was life like in the rest of your childhood? After the war, where did the family live? And
well, what happened then? We got evacuated. Well, we went to Huyton, where people put you up in houses. So there was people. The government would make it. Anybody who were homeless, there was getting people to put them up in houses all over Liverpool. And we went to Max Road in Finch Lane, and we went there. And my dad came after he'd been in the army, came to visit us, and we were there, Max Road, while waiting for a council house. And about 6 months later, the council house came, and it was in Dovecot, Huyton, and that's where my mother sent me to school, age 4, 5, Grant Road School, and then Dovecot, and so we went right through that. But we'd got into a council house in Peacefield Road in Huyton, Dovecot, and it was like not knowing what was, what life was about. But all of a sudden, we are now in a nice 2 up, 2 down, semi-condemned house in height. And that's where we... Then, funny enough, my dad come from the army, so there's another kid born. He came home a year later, another kid born. And in the end, my mum had I had 6 sisters.
No wonder you become a comedian. 6 sisters. 6 sisters.
I didn't know what it was like to sleep on my own until I got married.
Oh, brilliant.
I love
That's
it.
brilliant. No. But you always dreamt of becoming a professional footballer. Obviously, we would go to Liverpool because I'm like you. I went like 6 or 7 my first game. And you get the buzz, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, the cop. And you think, and Roger, I remember Roger Hunt, you remember Billy Little, I don't know, Albert Stubbins probably.
Yeah.
I remember like Sir Roger, and he just gave me the impetus of wanting to be him.
Right.
You know, hearing the cop sing his name, seeing him score goals. I idolised him and Bill Shankly. That must have been the same as you growing up. What position was you again?
Well, I them days when you play for Liverpool, they tried you out in different positions. So I tried me out on centre forward, then centre half and full back. So I was never ever. They were all trying you out here, see me there. You never stuck to one position. I used to like getting the number 9 shirt. That was Billy Little's shirt, or number 11, because sometimes he wore the 11 as well. And the funny thing about it, them days, all the shirts that the first team wore, they were passed down to the 18. And we go, oh, look at this, great. And we put on, and that had been worn a week or 2 weeks before by the first team, Billy Little. Oh, Alan Cake or Roger Hunt.
Well, that's the reason why I wore number 8 always, because it's Sir Roger, so it's the same sort of,
Roger.
you know, lives you with Billy's numbers, you know, it's just something that, as a young lad, it takes you in.
Yeah.
And Stan, then you went to Tranmere.
Well,
From
what happened, I'm sort of, mate of mine played for Tranmere. So he said, come and have a game. So I sneaked off and played a few games for Tranmere. Nobody knew.
Well, you were at Liverpool.
I was at Liverpool.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that even work? There's a guy.
Well, what happened was sometimes you get injured or something like that, you know. And a fella said to me, we'll come over and have a knock at there. So he said, okay. I said, just call me Jack Boardman, I'll be all right.
And how long did that go on for before?
That was only a short time. No, I got called up by the army by then, you know. So it was only a sort of a little bit of I wanted to sort of play football every single day of my life.
And that's a bit of development as well, wanted to do it that way, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So then the turn 1960-ish, you were on your way to Germany, is
1959,
it?
I went to Germany. Yeah,
Played in the Landers League, didn't you?
I played in I got called up and went to, I was in London. Well, I went to the Kings in Liverpool, in Preston. So I went to the Kings in Preston, and I sort of was there for about 3 or 4 months. I broke my toe, so they said, you can't march, so we'll put you in the engineers. So I finished up the engineers, booked to go to down in London. All of a sudden I'm down there training, then I got the card, you go to Germany, Paderborn. So we got the coach, the bus, the Hook of Holland, on the train, Iserlohn, Paderborn, Iserlohn. So I got to Iserlohn, and we're there for about, I always remember we're on a great big hill, and the barracks were on a hill. And after about 3 or 4 weeks to Iserlohn, and then we moved then to Paderborn. And that's when I was playing football. And these German people who were watching me said, would I like to play for Bad Lispring in the Landers League? I said, yeah. And he said, we'll give you £10 a week. Wow, £10 a week. I was only getting £2 in the army.
And Stan, I hope you don't mind me asking, but this is only 15 years after the end of the war, which I think, if you think about it, this is 80 years onwards now. We've just signed some friendship agreement. You saw the German flags and the British flag next to each other outside Buckingham Palace. Times have moved on significantly, and that's amazing. Yeah. But this is 15 years after the war, and the German asked you, a British soldier, to play for them, and you were a soldier, so to speak, in the engineer corps, at the same time as playing for a German team. What was there banter, or were you able to forgive at that stage already, because you had a lot of personal loss?
Well, I think when I went to Germany, when you were going to Germany, I thought, oh, bloody hell, they bombed our bloody house and everything, and they killed me, and killed me. So I get over there, and I'm really against the Germans, really, the Nazis especially. Yeah. So when I first got there was a few fights that I had in the bar, in the pubs and stuff around the corners with a few of the Germans. But when I got to know them, a few of the lads, they didn't know anything about the war. They were 15, 16, 17, 18 years of age. But when the war was finished, they were only like 5, 6, 7, So they didn't know much about the war. And I made quite. When they asked would I play, I had to think about that. Should I play? And I'm not one for bearing grudges on people I should have done. I know I should have done. I shouldn't have really been in Germany. The army should never have sent me there, because I could have, I could have turned out something completely different. Of course, yeah. Anyway, I met a couple of lads there who used to come down to the NAFI, and I forgot the German thing. I forgot about that. I just looked at them as just ordinary lads who it wasn't their fault. That's right. It was the Nazis, that had gone on. And when I was asked to play I was made up when I got, because I was only getting £2 in the army, and then there was barrack room damages. I think I finished up with about £1. And then the Germans said, we'll give you 10 quid. I went, wow, it was like bloody winning the football pools. So I said, well, I'll give them a try. So I went down, and I couldn't speak German. They couldn't speak English. It was hard. And I thought, right, what am I going to do here? And slowly but surely, I got to know the football team. Yeah. I got to know. They used to take me into the beer bars, and he used to sing these songs. I'm Proudest, I'm Proudest, I'm Proud, and he'd bring out a big jug with a boot. Well, it was a boot. It was a Wellington boot, and you had to try to drink it without spilling it.
Oh, like a yard of ale.
Like a yard of ale, but it was a Wellington boot, and we used to drink that. We get covered in it, And I got to know the lads as sort of friends. And not holding anything against.
Yeah, that would have helped you in the long run, actually, would it, to deal with it?
Yeah. And they used to bring me back to Paderborn, Dortmund, and I used to, in a Volkswagen, and bring me back, and then when I get through the gates, I used to get arrested by the police, by the guard, and he says, and I was put in jail. And the next morning, I had to go in front of the officers and why were you coming in at 3 o'clock in the morning drunk? I said, well, I play for Banter, and they all get me drunk. The Germans get me drunk, I said. And when I come in late, and all, he said, you play for Banter? I said, yeah. Oh, he said, that's good PR, the officer said. He said, because, we're having a lot of trouble with the German public, and the fighting with our soldiers and all that. It's good PR to do that. So he gave me a pass here. I said, what's that? He said, you can come in any time you think it wants. He said, yeah, give me a pass. And I wasn't arrested again. So every time I come in, I used to sing songs and go in there and piss off, and I was away.
That must have been the start of your comedy, sort of.
Probably, yeah.
To see
yeah.
to the side of life in many ways, you know what I mean, and in adversity.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I think before we move into the comedy career, I was just going to give a tiny bit of context. So Stan, where he stayed, Bad Lippspringe, is very close to my hometown, Lippstadt.
Right.
It's the same area of Germany. Germany, as you know, big country. So that is, I didn't actually know that when I met you, Stan. So
Right.
we recently met when you went to the Kenny Dalglish movie premiere, right? And a friend of mine said, "Oh, look, there's Stan Boardman." And any German that has lived in the UK for a little bit longer knows of Stan Boardman, because one of the two jokes would have been played at us. And the favorite, the big one, is the "You bombed our chippy." And I heard that joke. So when I was told that you were stood over there, I darted straight over, introduced myself to you, and told you what a big impact that joke of yours has made on my 20 years in the UK. Because I've heard that joke 1,000 times by different people. Because the Brits use...
It's linked with the war and the British and the Germans.
And the Brits, they love to use humor to figure out how integrated you already are in society as a... dare I say, as a foreigner, and particularly as a German. So for me, this joke has followed me around. So to then meet you, and then for you to agree to come on the podcast and everything, and then to find out that you played for Bad Lippspringe, which is literally where I come from. And I went to university in Paderborn. Actually,
did you go to university?
Oh, thanks for that.
I thought so.
You did as well. He didn't turn up.
University of Life, this man here, you know.
He's in a bottle.
Anyway, getting the part 2 of Aldo Meets, and we're back shortly. Welcome back to part 3 of Aldo Meets. We're in
a pub.
The honour of greatness, with Stan. I just want to ask you, Stan, it was like, you were one of my comedy heroes. Who was your comedy hero? Because you go back, you like the Doddy, obviously. Probably Doddy would be there, would he?
Oh, of course, Ken Dodd.
Who else, when growing up, what made you, want to be a comic? Who?
Well, I think I wanted to be a comic at a very early age because the teacher at school, you said, Boardman, you should be on the stage, Boardman, you're disrupting the class, you're this, that. But nobody ever saw that as anything, a talent or anything like that. They just wanted to give you the stick because you disrupted the talent. Yeah. Boardman, get outside, smack, out, put the other hand out, come on. Corporal punishment, Grant Road School. So, bang,
I've had the key loads of times.
We used to get battered. Teacher used to
the slipper. Did you ever have the slipper?
No, freaking slipper. I'd love a slipper. Fucking slipper. That is luxury. Fucking slipper.
The slipper.
The stick. It was a stick as thick as that. And he used to bring the teachers to bring it round like that and twat you like that. Like that. Then the other one like that. And we put our down.
Not when I went to school. No.
Oh no! It was well. When you think about it, how many kids were in my class? There's 46 kids in the class. By the time they called the register, it was playtime. We learned fuck all. We learned nothing. The teacher used to say in Grant Road School, "What put it out as what comes after the sentence?" And a kid puts out and says, "You make an appeal." This is Grant Road School, Duffcost.
So, who was it? Doddy, and who else was you?
Well, Ken Dodd, obviously, you wouldn't believe it. Ken Dodd lived in Notty Ash. Now, Notty Ash is by Duffcott Bats.
That's right, yeah.
Like by Duffcott Bat. And he used to come to our house when I was about 10, 11, 12, and he'd have a little satchel on his back, and he used to sell bleach. And Aunt Sally, to my mother, little 2 bottles of bleach, right? Because them days it was disinfectant, put down the toilets, wash the dishes with that's what we had before Daz and all that got out. And he used to 2 bottles of that every week, 2 bottles of that. And my dad said to me, hey, this fella here comes here to delivering the bleach and that and the Daz. He's delivering the, what they used to deliver? Oh, Aunt Sally. Used to call it Aunt Sally. It was a washing up liquid and bleach. And my mum used to always get 2 bottles. He used to come up the entry in Peacefield Road, number 15, and he called, Mrs. Boardman, 2 bottles, and it was Ken Dodd. And he was about 15, 20, I don't know. And my dad said, hey, you were on our club, the Eighton UDC club, the other day. You were brilliant. Tell Stan one of your jokes. So poor Ken Dodd standing there, 18 years of age, looking at me with 2 bottles of bleach in his hand. He's got a van outside. He said, tell him a joke. He said, I'm the only fella, this is Ken Dodd's joke, I'm the only fella in Liverpool, he said, who can eat a tomato through a tennis racket. And that's the first joke I got. And maybe it was Ken Dodd who gave me the inspiration to get up on the stage like he did. Yeah.
What a man.
But them days, I mean, when you think about it, we had all Liverpool comedians, right? And there was about, must have been 10 of them. I couldn't single them all out. But Jackie Hamilton was one that was going at the time. Mickey Finn was going one at the time.
Yeah.
Stevie Fay was one from Eighton. He was another comic who were going round at the time. And they hardly ever got on television.
The comedians they're coming a bit later, the comedians, didn't they? That was on in the late 60s, early 70s, the comedians.
The comedian, well, what happened?
I used to love that programme. On a Monday night, I love the comedian. Just half hour, and then they'd shoot from one comedian to another, most of them from Liverpool, Bernard Manning was on, and but they compiled it all together with the same background, and it looked like we were all in the same place. But it was a great show.
Well, that was Johnny Hamp. When I was sort of doing the clubs and all that, anyway, I got a manager to look after me, and he was put me around the clubs. And then he said, Stan, you won't believe it. He said, there's a show coming out for Granada television called The Comedians. He said, they've already done one series and it's going very well, and they want you on the next series. I said, okay. So I signed these papers and I got 15 shows, and I went up there. And Johnny Hamp, it was his brainchild, because then all the comedians in the country were all like telling jokes around the clubs. So we thought, well, right, let's get them on telly. So that's where, and then all of a sudden I'm out alongside Frank Carson, Bernard Manning, Roy Walker, Mick Miller, and all these comedians.
Great comedians,
and we only told one joke, or maybe 2 jokes, and that was it.
You used to flicker from one to the other quick, right. And there was no background clapping or cheering, because you had to do it yourself in the house. But it was a great show.
We'd wait for the laughs would come, bang, and we'd look at the camera, and then we'd go to the next comic, and he'd tell a joke, and then he'd look at the camera, bang, and it was the comedians, and it was one of the #1 shows for about 2 years. Yeah. So it made us all very, very famous.
It was just before Coronation Street, so obviously the timing of it was perfect. Brilliant.
Because Opportunity Knocks, was that around the same time, or was that before?
Opportunity Knocks was around about exactly the time that Hughie Green was... he was great, Hughie Green. I was on that's where I first... Johnny Hamp saw me anyway. And I was on there on the comedians, and I won. Right on the comedian, I won. I'm sorry, I did that. It was called Opportunity Knocks.
Yeah.
And I went on there, Opportunity Knocks, and it was down in Teddington Loch in London, and they wanted me to do about 5 minutes, which I did do, and I got up there and did it. And Hughie Green came up to me after. He said, that was brilliant. Great. He says, I'd like you to do another show as well. He said, Bernie Flint has just won it about 15 times. He said, so I'd like you to come on the All With It show. I'd like you to come on this and that. So I did Opportunity Knocks 3 more times, but we couldn't get Bernie Flint off because he's won 50 times. And he's still a good mate of mine, Bernie. We still do shows together. But that was the start of it, Opportunity Knocks, Utica Green. And it made a lot of people stars them days, even before anyone else. We had Frank Carson, we had Bernie Man, all these comedians. I don't think Bernie was on it, but Frank Carson was definitely on it. And there was a lot of other comedians and singers who were on it.
Oh, it was massive.
Yeah, it was.
massive.
I remember
it
it
was
as a
massive.
kid. Yeah.
You know, it's like Simon Cowell's one and some bit.
Yeah.
At the time, that was the first version
It was.
of it. You know, it was
But
a
shows
really
these
good
days
show.
can't become that big, can they?
No.
Because there's so many channels now.
Yeah.
That you won't get
No, that was the
25,
first-
30 million
first
people
episode
watching a
Opportunity
show.
Knocks,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, them
Yeah.
days, there was only 3 channels.
Yeah.
BBC 1, BBC 2.
Channel 4.
Channel 4.
Channel 4
That
wasn't even there.
didn't- wasn't
No,
even
that
there.
wasn't
No.
even existed, yeah.
No, that
Did
was-
you become friends with Big Ron, didn't you?
Well, funny
Did they
enough-
ask you to do before some finals to go on the bus or something
Well,
to calm the lads down?
I think the thing is when you're sort of a working class lad from Liverpool, you know, and you start doing things like Opportunity Knocks, you get out there in the public domain then, you know, and people in the club start to recognise you when you come here, when you do that. Then we get Summertime Special, which was like a big thing, Summertime.
Yeah.
Then Seaside Special.
That's right. Remember them all, yeah?
And then I was on them all with Val Doonican and Janet Brown. And I got a manager, and he said, look, he said, I'm managing Val Doonican. Will you do a tour with me? Where? Scotland.
Wow.
So I'll go all the way to Scotland with Val Doonican.
Well, you would know Van Doonican at the
Yeah.
time. Like he was pretty high up, wasn't he?
Well, he's from Ireland,
Yeah.
Val, and everyone loved him. And he was on every week. He was a nice, warm, friendly man,
Yeah.
and everybody loved him. So I got into all them shows. I've got managed by his manager, a fella called Bernard Lee. So then now I'm that and that, and then I'm on the comedians, that and that. It was like a roller coaster. And then summer season, Scarborough, 22 weeks at Scarborough. Then I go to Lowestoft, 20 weeks at Lowestoft. Then I go down to Skegness. I start doing all the Butlins holiday camps and all that. And every day I'm working, I'm in a car, I'm going to Scotland, I go to Ayr in Scotland. I do all Butlins, Pwllheli, Minehead, Skeggy, right the way round. So I used to start off, I do Skegness, then I go up the coast to Ayr, I come back from Ayr to Butlins, in Pwllheli, down from Pwllheli down to Minehead, from Minehead down to Buckner Regis, and I've been just going round the country like that every single day, for 20 years with my mate Donny, who used to drive me. God bless him, Donny.
And what about the World Cup song?
Well, that was enough. Well, funny enough, I like writing plays. And I write like music as well. So, and not music, I like doing, stories more than that, and turn my stories into music. And I've got one guy who looks after me, and he's a musician, and he won Stars in Your Eyes, and with he was going to be what was his name? Oh, I forget his name now. Give me 2 seconds. Just have a cough. So I meet a fella called Paul McCoy. Now, Paul McCoy, we were doing some charity shows, and Paul come along, and he's a musician, and he won Stars in Your Eyes, which was another talent competition. He's a great musician, and we got to know each other. And I said, look, I've written all these words for this song. I said, I'm not very good with the music. Will you help me? Boom. So I wrote, aye, aye, yippee, the Germans bombed our chippy, as Peter would like. So we turned that into, and it got to number 15 in the charts. Aye, aye, yippee, the Germans bombed our chippy. Anyway.
Over the last 50 years in the business, Dan, what what would you look back on and say you're most proud of? I know you've done a lot of work for charity. You know, when we're in a position like, you know, you with your next footballer, or you're well known, it's nice to be like Aldo Meets and we've done that, haven't we? That could come into the equation. But what are you most proud of, you know, of you know, doing in your...
Well, apart from being married to a beautiful lady, Vivian,
very nice.
and raising 2 kids, Paul and Andrea, my mum, who has brought us up with 8 kids, and my dad, in a 2 up and 2 down in Huyton, how she looked after us, working every day herself, going down the markets and all that sort of thing. And when I made a few bob out of my first couple of shows, I bought her a little house in Old Swan for £2,000, which was a lot of money then days.
Yeah, of course.
And I got this in Munster Road in Old Swan, my mum, and I said, "Ma'am, I'm going to do the house up for her," and I got her one of these little fireplaces, and I put the fireplace in, a little tiled fireplace, and I got her one of those fires which flickered, electric one, flickered fire. And she come in, and she was like that. She was crying, and she was sitting at the chair. She said, "I've been sitting here all night seeing how wonderful it is, this." And I went out into the backyard, and the backyard was a wall, with glass on top of it to stop any burglars. And my mum thought it was paradise in Old Swan. And she'd go to bingo every night in Shield Road, the bingo, or the Granada. And that was the biggest highlight of my life, to see my mum coming from what she had with the bombing, with losing a son, and to get her life together, and to bring up my 6 sisters and me up in a little council house.
That's a massive thing, I have to say, you know. Yeah. We look what times £2,000 was it's a hell of a lot of money in them days. And that's what you've actually done. That is a wonderful story. You know, I can link with that, because when I first bought my mum a house, it's the same sort of, but what your family went through, and your mum and particularly your father, they served to a certain degree, you know, that is a great story, Stan. I'll tell you, that was absolutely lovely, that, mate. But the only thing is now, you're going to have to do a quiz.
A quiz?
Yeah.
Where were you on the 12th of July? Where are you going to be on the 20th of February 2006? I'm going to be at the Glass House.
We know.
The Glass House. Make sure you're there.
Make sure the
see
Glass
Stan.
In Donny. In Doncaster. I was there last year, and they can't believe how bad it was, and they've booked me back. The Glass House, Doncaster, 20th of February. See you there.
Stan, the quiz, it's James's quiz.
Okay, James.
And it's 6 questions. You know I had 6 questions on you. Come on, you know.
Go on.
We've won 6 times, haven't we? We've won it 6 times, the big one.
Oh, the
big one, the European, you know.
Yeah. There's so much.
No, we've done so many things, mate. So,
say Everton's, someone's broke into Everton's trophy room, and they pinched all the contents. They caught a fella with a fucking carpet under his hand.
He's an Evertonian behind it. You waiting for that one, wouldn't you?
And I just heard that they're pulling down the stadium. The new stadium's got to be pulled down because there's a construction fault with the stadium. They reckon that the seats are facing the fucking pitch.
Number 1, Stan. It's multiple choice. Right. How many times have Liverpool won the league title? A, 18, B, 19, or C, 20?
I think it's 20, isn't it?
Correct.
One out of 1.
Yeah. Number 2, from which club did Bill Shankly join Liverpool as manager in 1959?
I think it was Carlisle.
Oh,
A. Huddersfield, B. Swindon, or C.
It's not Carlisle.
No, it wasn't Carlisle. What am I talking about? It's Huddersfield.
Yeah.
Correct, correct. Who holds the record for the most appearances in Liverpool's history? A. Roger Hunt, B. Ian Callaghan, C. Steven Gerrard.
Oh.
You know this.
Ian Callaghan.
Yeah.
Correct.
3 out of 3.
Yeah. Number 4. Who scored the most goals in Liverpool's history? A. Ian Rush, B. Andy Carroll, C. Michael Owen.
Say it again.
Who scored the most goals in Liverpool's
Fucking hell,
history?
my little grandson will get these. He's only 6.
A. Ian Rush, B. Andy Carroll, C. Michael Owen.
Andy Carroll.
Right.
Fucking hell, where'd you get it from?
It's Christmas.
Christmas Carol. Christmas Carol.
Oh, well done, mate. Give me that one. Sorry.
I love that.
Sorry.
Oh, that's great to know, sir.
Right.
Well done,
Number
mate.
5.
4 out of 4.
How many years has it been since Everton last won a trophy? A. 30 years, B. 12 years, or C. 45 years?
Fucking hell. I just like hearing to that. Say it again.
Now, how many years has it been since Everton last won a trophy? A. 30 years, B. 12 years, C. 45 years.
I would think that is probably 30 years.
That's correct.
Well done, Stan.
Right.
5
And
out of
number
5.
6 for the full set. When Liverpool won the FA Cup for the first time in 1965, who scored the winning goal at Wembley against Leeds? A. Tommy Smith, B. Chris Lawler, C. Ian St John.
And if you don't get this,
Is that the one where he just chopped it in with the come across
I wasn't there. John was there.
Calicross.
Cali crossed it, and he just put his leg out and stuck it in the net.
No, it's another.
Pardon? Say that again.
There's a lot of clues in.
Hang on. Say it again.
Chris Lawler.
Yeah.
Go on.
Tommy Smith, Chris Lawler, or Ian St John?
What are you saying?
No jokers. No jokers allowed.
Are you saying St John? Well, I said St John, but he said he scored it with his head.
He did.
And that's what I thought.
Roger scored the other one, didn't he, with his
So it was
Are we locking this in then?
Are we locking in Ian St John?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
Be careful.
Correct.
Yeah, 6 out of 6.
That's
Well
how-
done, Stan. Well done, mate.
Stan, pleasure. Thanks for
that's
being
the
with
end
us.
of the podcast with the great Stan Boardman. And we'll see you next time for number 26.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Have a lovely Christmas time. And yes, Stan has a
Christmas
book
time,
for
and that's
sale
Stan's
in case you didn't notice.
Don't
So.
worry, if you want to laugh, get the book and have a proper laugh.
It's-
Get in the house and have a couple of beers and read the book.
It's got here. John Bishop is what did he call it when he say
The forward.
Enhance.
forward? John Bishop, Chris McCausland.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he mentioned you.
Kenny and Marina Dalglish.
Nice.
Then we've got Ron Atkinson and Jimmy Tarbuck.
Why
So
didn't
they've
you-
all had
Why
a
didn't you
record.
fucking ask me?
I did you house.